It is quite fascinating, but not surprised, that the controversial Islamic cleric has warned Nigerian army and other security operatives not to provoke the bandits, the terrorists, after striking a peace deal. Wow, the father of the Nigerian government has spoken. It is quite interesting. Is this happening in this 21st century? That a sovereign state will be having a deal, a bargain, a treaty with an Islamic or with terrorists hiding under the disguise of bandits, people who are terrorizing the Nigerian indigenous communities, sacking them, breaking living scores of people dead, attacking churches and mosques are not left out. In the most recent heinous assault on the Nigerian population, yet the government is striking a peace deal with these terrorists. This is quite interesting. Not just striking a peace deal with the terrorists in Katsina State. Recall, I told you, Katsina State, after the onslaught of the worshippers at the mosques, Tinubu gave an ultimatum charging the security chiefs to go after the assailants, the killers, the murderers, and bring them to justice by all means possible. Few weeks later, this is what we are hearing, that now the Nigerian government has engaged these terrorist kingpins. There's no better words to be used than this. Considering the antecedents, their actions, it is quite very unfortunate that they are now holding the entire country to ransom. Of recent, you saw what Nasser El-Rufai said. He accused the federal government of paying the terrorists. The bandits are in the federal government payroll, even affirmed recently by Dati Ahmed. This is quite interesting. Honestly, people begin to ask, what exactly is happening? What exactly is happening that the masses are not aware of? Could it be said that these people are now more powerful to be contended with, or for the government to contend with, or the security operatives? Of course, Gumi has been a very strong advocate of amnesty being granted to them, or money being paid to these bandits or these armed men who has vested interests, ravaging the entire country, making the entire northeast ungovernable. Now they are being compensated. You see, and this is what Gumi said, warning the Nigerian army, the defense headquarters, and other security operatives against provoking the terrorists after peace deal in Katsina. This is from Sahara reporters. He called them terrorists, and I was mistaking it for bandits. Having a peace deal with terrorists, unleashing terror, fear, apprehension. So many communities have vacated, have deserted their indigenous homes, indigenous communities. And here we are today as a country. Rather than bringing these assailants or who has committed such unpardonable assault on the Nigerian sovereignty and people to justice. Nigeria is busy negotiating, striking a peace deal with them to the point that even they have the audacity to challenge the government, not to provoke the terrorists by breaking the peace deal. Do you understand what that means? No, do you really get, does it sink down to you what this really means? If it has gotten to the point they could bring the Nigerian government to its knees, then it means nobody is secured again in this country. If they can have the audacity, whether Gumi is mediating or not, telling the federal government, the military apparatus, not to provoke. I mean, what the hell is this? What exactly have they gotten us into? What exactly has the government gotten the masses into? That eventually the masses are losing the confidence of the government to provide security. If you can strike a deal with these people, which means they will hold you to ransom. Whenever they are in need of money, they might go agog because they knew definitely you will come again to sort them out. This is quite unfortunate. This is quite disturbing. Which other country of the world negotiate with terrorists to cohabit? The peace talk lasted for several hours, uninterrupted, unintercepted. Within the Nigerian defined territory, territorial sovereignty, they are given conditions that must be met before they stop killing Nigerians, indigenous communities. And the government is accepting that. None of them has been arraigned in the court of law. None of them is standing trial today. None of them have been prosecuted or convicted of the criminality they have embarked on against the citizens of Nigeria, against the northern population, against the indigenous people of the northeast, the north central, the northwest. Across the regions of the north has been ravaged by these assailants for decades, yet none of them has been convicted. Does that come as a surprise to you? Does that shock you? Does this revelation shock you? I stand to be corrected. None of them have been arraigned in the court of law and be tried. All these kingpins, the most wanted terrorist kingpin, today have struck a deal with the Nigerian government, a peace deal within the defined territory of Nigeria. No wonder the host communities or the vulnerable, defenseless communities are heralding, singing their praise because they can't do anything. Nobody is coming to their rescue. Having seen there is no other way of survival, they are now familiarizing themselves with these guys, becoming celebrities, walking on the streets of Castina, on the streets of Nigeria, as celebrities, as people, of course, who are in command of authority who can force the government to the negotiating table. I mean, they are the one forcing the government. And of course, Ghana must go, or something definitely will go for something. Momentarily, as we have seen, El-Rufai position was very clear. You can't tell us that the terrorist has repented. El-Rufai, in his own opinion, said that the only way terrorists cannot repent, the only way to deal with them is to bring them to justice. You don't give them a room to negotiate. People who have been unleashing mayhem, who has been killing indigenous people, communities, and the government is spending billions of naira, hundreds of billions in procurement of arms and other security logistics. Money that should have been channeled towards human capital development and providing dividend of democracy to the people. Is being channeled against fighting insecurity and the rest of them. And sadly, what we are seeing now is the most shocking, unexpected development. Of course, Gumi has once have said this several times that it is practically impossible to end Boko Haram, to end the insurgency in the north, not even in the next 2 decades. Now I understood that Gumi was right. He was fantastically right and correct, updated with the current realities. For Gumi to have said it is impossible to defeat the terrorists, the Boko Haram, not even in the next 2 decades, 20 years to come. The realities is playing out before all are sundry. In fact, there could be possibility of these guys overrunning Nigeria in a matter of less than 6 months. With the way things are going, they're now becoming untouchable by the position of expressed by Gumi. Gumi said, once the Nigerian military and other security operatives not to provoke against provoking the terrorists after peace deal. You know what that means? Don't encroach our boundary. We have now a defined territory within the Nigerian enclave. When you are operating in these regions, don't come near. Otherwise, you are looking for our trouble. Just allow us to be operating the way we want, to do whatever we think we can, to impose levies on the communities we deem necessary. You can imagine, it is being reported on national papers, national dailies, that over 10 local governments in Sokoto is under the control of the terrorists. Under the control of the terrorists, 10 local governments. You know what that means? What is the landmark of Sokoto? For 10 local governments to fall under the control of the terrorists. No, just do this simple arithmetic. You mean 10 local governments. For instance, Lagos State has 20 local governments. All of a sudden, you heard that 10 local governments out of the 20 local governments in Lagos State is being overrun, has fallen under the control of the terrorists. They are now in charge of these local governments, being in charge over the territorial integrity of the Nigerian state has been greatly compromised. That is what they are telling us. That the territorial integrity of the Nigerian state has been compromised. If not state assets could hijack 10 local governments, which one is left? Did you get what is playing out? For instance, Sokoto has 23 local governments. Yes, 23 local governments, if I'm not mistaken. Now, out of these 23 local governments, you now have that almost half of the states has fallen under the control of the terrorists. Then what are they telling Nigerians? What are they telling the Southerners? I mean, this is the seat of caliphates of the Fulani Empire. Sokoto State is the seat of caliphate. And almost half of Sokoto State has been taken over by these terrorists, bandits or whatever they call them. Then what are they telling us? Why is the Nigerian military not marching, not declaring state of emergency in that particular Sokoto State? Needless to talk about Zamfara, just Katsina, you saw what is going on. Reckless adoption of the emirs and every other person in Sokoto State has been rampant. So, are you getting what exactly is happening? In the north, something serious is going on. These guys are getting more energized, more robust in their network, in their strategies, and the rest of them. You can see the kind of lettered weapon, AK-47, 49, they are hanging on. The one called Ado Alero, and his life. These guys are big boys. They are multi-billionaires because they have all it takes to command the attention of the government, to place their demand, and eventually that will be considered done. They have the capacity, with what we are seeing today, for Gumi to start to warn, to caution the Nigerian security operatives, the Nigerian Defense Headquarters, not to contravene or go against the peace deal or provoke these guys, because they are well armed to the teeth. But we thought that Tinubu's administration have expressed willingness to combat, to fight these people. If that seems to be true, of course, there shouldn't have been any need to engage or compromise the position of the government to the point of striking a peace deal with these people, with these guys. You know them. They could possibly detect or decide the outcome of any election in any state by the way they are going. They can publicly decide, these are the people you have to vote, these are the people, we are not going to allow election to hold in the entire Northeast. What does the government has in mind by striking this peace deal? I thought Erufai should have been someone, and eventually possibly the Nigerian government debunking the allegation. Erufai said it's not allegation because he said he has the document, the informations of the details of how such money was wired. That Ahmed, of course, made his own striking position. How could the terrorists be on the payroll of the federal government? How could you be encouraging them by engaging in peace talk or peace deal with these people? They get more robust in terms of finance, eventually procure more lethal weapons for the next onslaught. A way of embodying them, because when you pay them, when you give them considerations, monetary considerations, and the rest of them, You are emboldening them and encouraging more people to join them. And you are expanding their horizon, their tentacles. They are spreading like wildfire. Imagine if even Sokoto State, where the emir of Sokoto resides, as the Islamic leader in Nigeria, you have these people who said they want an Islamic state. They are fighting for an Islamic state. They are against Western education. They are against Western dominance and Western rule. They have almost taken 10 out of 23 of Sokoto states. Now, what else do you need to hear from me? What are you still waiting to hear from us? And nobody is making noise about that. Perhaps they feel comfortable with that such development. Nobody is raising a laugh. It's just some few disgruntled civilians who are rolling the streets and by word of protest that the state of insecurity is worsening. But those who should speak more, those who command influence and authority, they are keeping moods. They are telling you, don't provoke them. Make sure you don't provoke them. Give them what they need. Let them close mouth. Settle them as Sheik Gumi has been advocating. Settle these guys. Let them go and rest. Settle them well. Give them their own share. I mean, they are now part and parcel, an integral part of the Nigerian government that could demand their share, of course, by way of violence. It is quite interesting. Let's have your own take regarding this. Definitely. It's an interesting moment we're in. But then, it has spelled out clearly what you should expect. Because with what is going, I don't consider anybody safe anymore in this country.